we go. I was really ready to launch in my usual opening spiel right there. And I would give a lot to... I would give a lot for this to be just another kind of stream. The original intention for today was just to do... maybe not even music production, but something else. Over the last few months, perhaps more so in April, May, June, you might have noticed some changes in my behavior. You might have noticed that I seemed like I wasn't sleeping well. You might have noticed that I was probably a little cranky. The quality of my work dropped. And a number of other things took place that gave people reason for concern. Even after those months, a few of my tweets were definitely a little bit cryptic, things about, like, if only I could just share what's going on. Today is that day. So, as hard as it is to talk about some of this stuff, it's worth going over. I have written a bit of a script that I'll probably be on and off about reading directly. This body of text will probably be what accompanies this going out to other socials in the near future. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead. Okay. My stalker, the person against whom I have a restraining order, effective as of June, and continues to knowingly and willingly harass me through emails, some containing videos of him, letters, gifts and packages, mostly sent to my personal address, is the user formerly a member of the oddities community known as Zhao Bunny, first name Roger, though he also goes under such names as Kinomoto Fujitaka, which I understand matches a character from Cardcaptor Sakura, Kinomoto Ciel, or Kinomoto C, potentially a reference to Ciel Phantomhive from Black Butler, Kinomoto Inugami, a reference to Korone Inugami, the hololive Vtuber and streamer, Time Traveler, Ciel, Lunaswave, and Lambda, or the Lambda symbol. That's not an exhaustive list, but those are the aliases under which I've seen him most active. So those are the names he's gone under. Just scrolling the text. At one time, I was actually a personal friend with Roger. That's how he has my physical address. That's how he's able to mail me things. But in recent years, his behavior started to get a little bit more out of control. And he's continued to send things that I've told him have made me very uncomfortable. Specifically, back in, I believe, roughly April. Actually, you know what? It might help to have some of my own documentation on hand. I've been taking careful note as to when things have happened for the last while. I can get the date that I received a package. Some of you might remember Zhao Bunny for donating large amounts of money on stream. And at the time, it was very appreciated. It definitely helped keep things afloat. But what a lot of people don't know was during that time, behind the scenes, he was also sending messages containing poetry and very praise-loaded prose. Some including statements of affection and romantic interest. At the time, I simply stated that I didn't return those feelings. I was honored, flattered even, but that I didn't give those back. And for a little while, that seemed to work. Let's see. Let me get the day. On April 16th, I received a package from Roger that contained, amongst other gifts and merchandise, a love letter indicating that he wanted to move to California, to the part of California I live in, to pursue a romantic relationship with me. At that point, by the fact that he had stated an intention to act, I knew that I had to drop something directly. I had to say, I I had to make clear that I was uncomfortable and that I wanted him to stop sending messages and packages and gifts with romantic intentions. Long story short, he has repeatedly, knowingly continued to ignore those requests and send more. On multiple occasions, sending additional letters, emails, some emails containing videos of himself making expressions of romantic intention. I should indicate real quick, like I said earlier, but I want to clarify. The issue that I have is not with someone having romantic feelings towards me that I don't return. Feelings are valid, and I'm usually pretty flattered that someone has feelings for me in that regard at all. The problem is more with the fact that I had made clear that the way that he had expressed those feelings to me had made me very uncomfortable and that I wanted him to stop. And despite a polite request for him to stop, a firm request for him to stop, a warning for him to stop, even having moderators here and on the Discord server pull him aside and let him know that if he didn't stop, that he'd be blocked and banned on every platform on which I'm active, or at least on my channels on those platforms. And then after him being blocked and banned on those platforms because he wouldn't stop, he still has not stopped. He has still knowingly and intentionally continued to send emails, letters, and packages with those romantic intentions. In fact, the part of how I know that this is knowingly going on is, one, I have the paperwork that allows the state of California to know that he has been served paperwork regarding the restraining order, but also that he's gone through effort to remove his real name and in some cases his address or his involvement at all from the things that he sends. In many cases, he's used sites like SendSpace to send text files that contain those romantic expressions. For those not familiar, I think a lot of folks are Gmail users, and usually if you try to include a file that's larger than a certain amount, it just creates a G drive link, and they can just download it from that. Before that was a thing, sites like SendSpace were what you could use to mail a file larger than 2 megabytes to someone, or to email someone a file that was larger than 2 megabytes. It's also possible to list a sender and a recipient email address. In this case, he used one of my email addresses for both fields, so I didn't know that it was him until, ostensibly until the file was opened. He has also applied this tactic to packages and letters that he is sending. Either rewriting his personal address to include cutesy words that make it hard to return, or just omitting it entirely. In fact, I think I might have a photo of the most recent submission. Yesterday, he attempted to send a package, and I've obscured my address and his address and other information, but to show you the scale of what's going on, I do fit to screen. That was the package. Val is another name under which he has attempted to send things. There's no return address. So during this time, yes, he's also used Amazon gifts to send me things without his name involved. For those who don't know, if you send a gift through Amazon, they won't see your address on there. They won't see that you were involved until they open the package. And you can include a name tag and details, or name tag, sorry, like a gift tag that indicates your involvement or the fact that they received a gift at all. During this time, back to the script, I guess. During this time, his actions and unwillingness to respect my most basic requests have caused me a great deal of anxiety, fear, and sorrow. Early in, April, May, and June, I lost many hours of sleep, shed a fair share of tears. I kept my door locked, even when I was inside. I started carrying pepper spray just whenever I go out. And even now, just actually earlier today, whenever I see a USPS or UPS or FedEx truck drive around, my heart rate goes up really, really high because I worry that I'm going to have to let them know this is someone against which I have a restraining order. I need to refuse this. I need to take pictures of it to document it, and then I need to refuse it. But there are also times when I was not able to refuse the package. So I've had to, open my door to a rather unpleasant surprise. This anxiety and a lack of sleep was a very big part of those months where I seemed unrested and uncomfortable and upset and probably a little cranky and short with you all. And just real quick, this isn't even in the script. If I was really short with you, or unkind to you during that time, I want to extend a full and proper apology. This does not excuse how I might have behaved or treated you at that point, but this is an explanation as to why. So it's had a direct impact on the quality of my work, the quality of my streams, the ability to complete songs, not just for my own work, but for commissions from labels and other things like that. It's also cost me a good amount of money to pursue legal action, to get a restraining order. Fortunately, in the state of California, stalking is seen as a violent crime, so the actual act of filing for the order, I'm going to make sure that the personal information isn't shown here, but the actual restraining order, it still costs money for certain things around that to take place, as well as time going down to the courthouse and waking up early to get to the courthouse on time to make sure that people go through their cases and get to yours. Just that it's cost me time and money to go over the legal paperwork and things like that. I've also had to look into new places to live. I had expressed interest in moving already, but this has caused me to expedite my search and possibly invest in a place that may not be ideal for my mental health or for anything that I might need from the next place that I live. All in the interest of abandoning this address for one of which he has no knowledge. The process of enforcing the restraining order has been extremely slow and a little bit painful, but the police have been made aware of Roger's behavior, and documentation has been submitted. There are sufficient grounds to at least set a few things in motion. That said, alright, so it looks like this is the part where I just talk about the some of the fear in general. Like, we get packages and deliveries around here like every day. There was a period of time where I was getting a letter from Roger literally every day. And if I didn't get one on Sunday, then it just doubled up on one of the next days. I'll wrap up the description, basically. Like, I made clear to Roger that his romantic expressions have made me extremely uncomfortable, and I've asked him to stop multiple times. Despite this, from over 4 months ago to now, he has not stopped. Even yesterday, I received another package containing strong romantic intentions and expressions. These behaviors are regarded by the state of California as stalking and harassment. And, I mean, enough so to grant me a restraining order. I hate having to do any of this. 2020 sucked enough without having to take a restraining order out against someone that I considered not just a fan, but even for a while a friend. But, I mean, some of you might have also considered Zhao a friend. Whether you're an oddity or a member of the Eurobeat community at large, this really sucks. But because he's continued to do this, because he has been asked politely, firmly, with a warning, with blocks and bans, and even a literal restraining order. Because he keeps doing this, despite all that, I'm hoping that this stream and this VOD, which will be made available, I'd probably like to edit out some of the ums and ahs and things like that, and make this available information elsewhere than just Twitch. I'm hoping that by bringing this information out, that the communities in which he participates can be aware of his behaviors and actions, his harassment and stalking, as confirmed by the state of California, and that they can make an educated decision regarding his involvement in those communities. It's kind of a weird thing to... I always worry that when I talk about stuff like this that I sound full of myself, and certainly I've been accused of this, but it's weird having a place in any kind of social media presence, like a brand. I've even joked about brand, the Odyssey Music brand, There's a dehumanizing that happens. And whether that's to bring someone down to less than an object, or to elevate someone to something that they regard higher than a human, but still not human, it can still be very damaging. And it's a strange place to be where people develop this idea of me in their heads that isn't true. This collection of notions about me that is wildly unrealistic or harmful. And gets to a point where they no longer see me as human enough to respect the basic request of, you've made me very uncomfortable, I need you to stop. Roger is not even the only individual who's engaged in behavior like this, but he is most certainly the strongest example. And I really wish that I knew what to say. I will say this much, and then I think after this next statement, we can open the chat up to questions and comments for a little while. I feel like this should go without saying, but because this is the internet, don't go after Roger with this. I will not support or condone any harassment in return to Roger about this. That is not how we deal. That is not anything that the oddities community is about. That's not anything that I will support or back up or go for. That's not okay. To fight harassment with harassment is not okay. Instead, aspire to be better. Understand that the people that make the music you enjoy, whether it's fandom music or niche genre music or whatever, is a human generally worthy of the basic respect to not harass them. That when they say, that thing that you just did violates me and makes me very uncomfortable, I would like for you to stop, that you stop. For most folks, that's not a problem, but I guess just keep that in mind. I will say this much. If Roger sees this stream or sees any of the stuff going out, I hope that that is an indication to Roger to let me go. It's been several months. I'm tired. I'm done. I have never loved you, Roger. I have never had that interest, and if anything, your continued stalking and harassment has not been a misunderstanding. It was not a misunderstanding even before the restraining order. I need to stop.